Hi, I'm Bruce Francis. For sure, we are in some strange times with this COVID virus. And people are always stressed out. I mean, that's like kind of like the American pastime, being stressed. But the fact of the matter is that this virus and the threat that it might start killing who knows how many people over who knows how long a period of time. Every week there's a new report about how long it's going to last. But the one thing that is coming about that is supposed to be able to stop this virus is social distancing. In other words, don't be more than 6 feet to each other, or in the worst case, what's happening is that stay inside your apartment and do not come out. Have food brought in if you can, but only go out for food and maybe medicine. And that is the only way that this virus is going to get stopped. And this is what every major medical person and the Center for Disease Control and you name it has said. When people live in confined spaces, they can really get on each other's nerves. And even though they know it's for a good reason, they can start freaking out with each other because it is not so much what the people are really doing, it is the way you're taking it. And that's a big problem. Now, so we're gonna look at some things that you can do, and I'm gonna be doing a series of meditation courses about what you can do. So we'll take about 5 minutes, like what is it, and then what is the problem. Then we'll have 10, 15, 20 minutes on what's a solution. But keep in mind, everything you're doing in this is going to be good for other times, because it isn't like this virus is going to be over and no one's going to get stressed out again. I mean, that's ridiculous. Now, what I'm showing comes from Taoism, the Tao. Most people don't know what Taoism is, and that's fine. And as a matter of fact, what's in here, you don't have to. All this stuff is very practical and it's not religious. So that means that you can keep all your religious beliefs, no matter what they are, no matter whether they're subscribed to by billions of people or just a small group of 100,000 somewhere. Everything in this is extremely practical in terms of the human mind and psyche and what it goes through when it gets confined. And I know something about it. When I was a youth, when I was learning meditation of my own free will, okay, I spent 10.5 months in a cave. And the only human contact I had is someone left food outside the cave, I guess every once in a while I had to shout out something I needed, so maybe they bring it. But generally you could say I did not talk to anybody and nobody talked to me. And that's about as socially isolating as you can get. And there wasn't even a TV, okay? So that's very socially isolating. So I hope you find more space inside yourself and more happy space between you and the people you're locked up with. And whether it's in a house or an apartment or I don't know, maybe a closet, who can tell? And I hope that even if this is the only meditation you ever do in your whole life, that it carries forward and helps your life. So we're glad you're here, and going to try and help you find some internal space during the COVID confinement period. Thanks a whole lot, and I hope this helps. Welcome to this installment of Taoist meditation. We are now in a very difficult time. This coronavirus is escalating at a very rapid pace. You could just look what's happening in Europe, and we're 3 weeks to a month behind the curve of what's likely to hit us. Things are spreading. First it's a couple of things, and then who knows where it goes. So, right now, our dear American president has said that you should sequester yourself indoors, and unless it's absolutely necessary to go out, don't. Okay. So, in effect, what is this going to do? To save the population, and if we can, flatten the curve of this virus to where it doesn't reach the takeoff point, to where there's no way to stop it, and the whole country's going to have it. And then that's going to bring up other problems, especially in terms of the ability to get an intensive care bed, which might save your life. that people are going to be locked inside their houses. Okay. Now, and people are going to get stir crazy. And if you look at what happens inside of people who've been under house arrest for a long time, if they're a single person, many of them just kind of go crazy and then it settles out. But when you're in a family and you've got all sorts of family dynamics happening, there are many families where everybody can't be together in it for more than about an hour or two before everybody is exploding at everybody. So it is not unreasonable to think that this is going to happen in America. There will be a lot of anxiety, and it's already starting. And anxiety, a little bit of anxiety is okay, but anxiety, if it goes far enough, can reach the psychotic proportions. The reason I'm mentioning all of this is there are a few things that over the next couple of weeks we're going to be looking at. The first one is how to calm yourself. So if your mind is going crazy and churning, which is what happens when you get anxiety, you just get the same thought and you just go again and again and again. How can you at least lessen it or put it more to bed? Now, everything that is going to be shown in this meditation course is part of Taoist meditation, which can eventually, from the Eastern point of view, take a person to enlightenment. This is not just something from a stress management course. And the fact of the matter is that most of the practices in any tradition that will take a person to enlightenment, direct union with God, the void, the Buddha, whatever term you want to use, their early practices have the effect of being powerful stress management tools. And increasing anxiety increases stress. So reducing your stress and reducing your anxiety is a small step on the road to spiritual awakening. Whatever way you want to do it. I mean, seriously. So the first thing is that what you just need to do is try and slowly get to recognize how the inside of you feels. Because you can have thoughts about this and this, you can be screaming at people, you can sit in front of a computer and try and extrapolate how you're going to make your billions in the market, and that's all out here. But people are not used to going in and checking in what's happening inside of them. And what's happening inside of you is where the main game of meditation happens. But going inside you starts giving you a hint of how the deeper levels of your mind are reacting to your situation. Now, at the moment, we have a situation. First thing we want to do is to start going inside us. So we're going to start with something really, really, really simple. And there are within Taoism many, many, many breathing techniques, and for very specific purposes. But a simple one is this. Put your hand on your diaphragm and just make sure that it keeps moving. You can see going out, coming in, because if your diaphragm is moving, you're breathing. And if the coronavirus starts getting very, very, very bad, it's going to do things to the front and the side of your spine. It's going to be where your ribs are going to lock up, but then it's going to cause your diaphragm to freeze. And then it's going to go to your lungs, and then maybe it goes to your heart. Anyway, that's the road to death. But in general, if your diaphragm is moving, you're breathing. And the biggest single thing when anxiety gets over the top, this is what people do, whether very quietly, like, but what I really think is, and all that. Well, the net effect of that is you're not getting any air. The second net effect of that is setting off every panic response in your body. This we do not need. So put your hand on your diaphragm and just make sure it moves. You can look at my hands. Now, maybe it'll move a lot, maybe it'll move a little. That really depends upon how strong your breathing is. But this thing we're doing right now is not a breathing course. And I also teach those, and I have products on those. But it's not. It's just that you need to recognize if your diaphragm is breathing. Because the first sign, the first symptom, big symptom of extreme stress is that your diaphragm goes crazy and your breath goes crazy. And as long as you are steadily moving your diaphragm, air is going into your lungs and out of your lungs with a regular rhythm. And when your diaphragm goes and it starts spasming, the air is not going in and out of your lungs in a positive rhythm. And this causes the mind to become disturbed. Now, just do this for a minute because, again, as I said, most people are simply not used to noticing their diaphragms. When your diaphragm goes down, okay, air fills your lungs. When your diaphragm goes up, it pushes the air out of your lungs. But for that matter, because the way your diaphragm is actually constructed, the easier thing to feel is whether it's going out and coming back in again. That at least shows you it's doing its job. So, now just notice what's happening inside you. What sort of feelings are you getting inside you? Now, whether these feelings are going to directly translate into obvious thoughts, or they're just going to be subliminally happening inside you and driving your whole physiology, kind of hard to say. But you want to notice what is happening. If you put your hands on your diaphragm, close your eyes, and just let your mind, if it can, start going down from the inside of your head down to your diaphragm. Now, if you can get your mind to go into your head somehow, your head, everybody has it from moment to moment, it has a feeling associated with it. Call it the background noise that's in back of digital sound or something, but it always has some feeling attached to it because it's reflecting what's happening in your brain. And your brain has always got feelings happening to it, whether you consciously know it or not. So just let the diaphragm have a steady, even rhythm. And now, together with that steady, even rhythm, just start going inside your head. The classic way is start from the very crown of your head and then just start going down. What are you feeling? Do you feel safe? Do you feel nurtured? Do you feel the terror is about to walk in through the door? Are you confused? Are you just feeling winds moving all over the place, but you don't understand them? There are so many ways the inside of you could feel. I would not even try and say you should be feeling this or that. But what is important is that you recognize what you're feeling. And then you want to notice that if your breath gets smoother and your diaphragm moves better, is what's happening inside your head getting more comfortable, getting lighter, getting something that makes you feel connected, coherent, safe, nourished, relaxed. Different people might throw those words onto what they're feeling. But my recommendation is don't try and define it. It's either one of two things. The inside of your brain is fine, it's good, it's whatever, rather than there is something that is disturbing it. So for this, we're just going to breathe. And you simply want to notice. You know, as they said in my day, and which the kids are saying now, is the inside of your head cool or is it messed up? And I'm sure you could attach all sorts of machines that could give you an accurate printout of your brain waves, and then, that would make sense, but you don't need something to tell you how you feel. You don't need to know when you're lying in bed and hugging somebody whether you feel good or you feel like someone's going to walk through the door and shoot you. You don't. It's obvious. So we're looking for big, obvious stuff. Now, every feeling that you're going to get that's going to register in some way, no matter what the feeling is in some way going to be involved in the way your brain goes through your nervous system, through the spinal cord. It goes to every place in your body, or what things inside your body that are traveling and go up to your spinal cord and up your spinal cord into your brain. So your nervous system, which is encased in your spinal cord, is the main highway that every signal is moving through. So now that we're breathing and making sure the diaphragm is going, we want to do something else. Let's see if you can feel the back of your spine. If you have a back scratcher, you could just do it and scratch the parts of your spine, or you could be against a chair and feel the pressure against the chair. But now, as you breathe and your diaphragm is moving, have the sense that from the back of you, when you inhale, something is coming into your spine. It's going past your bones and it's going right inside the spinal cord. And as you exhale, it's going from your spinal cord in back of you. How far? I don't know, case by case. You can actually, a good meditator can actually make it happen to a very long distance, 10 meters, something like that. But you are inhaling, making sure your diaphragm is moving, and you're just inhaling into your spine first by section. Let's just do the top section first, the middle section, the belly, the bottom. And see if you just can recognize the feeling of something coming into your spine and away from your spine. And this is just the chi that surrounds you 24 hours a day. But the hope is that it will begin to activate dead spots in your spine. Because as a dead spot happens inside your spine, it sends signals to your brain. And those signals can make you go crazy. So the diaphragm is moving and you're breathing in and out of your spine. And begin to notice what these two things, how they are affecting how you feel inside. Do you feel stable? Do you feel shaky? Do you feel you're about to jump out of your skin? Some people are just going to feel better and more centered and more happy. But a lot of people who have so much stress accumulated inside them can almost feel like they want to jump out of their skin, because they're feeling the nervous signals that are actually happening inside their body. And they're having a route to feeling what is happening subliminally in their mind. Most of us can relate to the fact that we think. And we do simple actions. 10 plus 10 is 20. Most of us cannot relate to how the unconscious or the subconscious mind is influencing our conscious mind. And one of the basic principles of meditation is, well, that's how it goes. That is what happens. Now, at a certain point of doing this, you may be able to feel if your diaphragm is moving without your hand on it. But until that time comes, keep your hand on your diaphragm. This is the principle of point-counterpoint. You want to have something, you do not want to depend upon the subtlety of your mind to feel what's happening to your breathing. You want to have something that whatever your mind tells you, you have a way of checking if that's actually what's going on. Because you could feel you're breathing when you're not, or feeling you're not breathing when you are. And you need to have something that, the first thing is that you just keep breathing. Your body needs oxygen, your cells all need oxygen, and when they don't get them, they get upset. Now, the hope is that within some days or weeks, that if your hands are down, you can feel your diaphragm, whether it's moving or not. And if your diaphragm is not moving, that is a danger sign that your subconscious mind could very easily be getting ready to go crazy on you. Crazy, freak out. You don't necessarily have to go as far as pathological mental diseases. But what you do have to say is that when people's breathing has a problem, they get really upset. Now, in today's world, this mixed martial arts is a very popular thing, and it's on TV all the time. And some of you may watch it, and some of you may never have watched it. But I'll tell you something about that, whether you watch it or not. This all came from one of the big things they do in mixed martial arts is try and choke a person into submission or into unconsciousness. That's because the stuff from the Rice brothers came from jiu-jitsu and in judo, and when I was a kid doing judo and jiu-jitsu, that's part of normal competition judo, choking somebody. Two ways you can choke somebody. You can cut the blood off to their brain, which is stronger, or you can cut off the oxygen to their lungs, and in which case they'll go to sleep on you. But when you cut off the oxygen to their lungs, before they're ready to go, beside the fight, they're going to fight like nobody's business. You watch their body just start to go into spasm. And those very, very light spasms tell you, oh, he's on the edge of either he's going to submit or I'm going to make him go unconscious. You can feel those spasms. They're not subtle. But you want to make sure that if your diaphragm is really not breathing, you want to recognize it. You don't want at an unconscious level to trigger those spasms, because those spasms will then sooner or later turn into all sorts of negative emotions and thoughts, which will cause you to suffer. Anybody who's having anxiety about dying, or anxiety about, oh, I'm going to lose all my money, or, oh my God, my girlfriend's going to leave me, or, whatever. You may not see your girlfriend or boyfriend for the next year if everyone's sequestered. Who lives in your house? If your parents are not living in your house, you may not see them for a year, or whoever it is you like. Well, these things create pressure on a society that has always been used to very full and open communication, where talking to people is kind of like a lifeblood for people. So just recognize it. Recognize if you're breathing. And when you can see that your diaphragm is moving fine, simply inhale into your spine and exhale away from your spine. And you're going to do this with your mind and your awareness. And those are the two biggest tools that all forms of meditation work on in the beginning. Observe your mind, and whatever inside you is not calm, let it calm down. And when something happens that is causing you to freak out, no matter what it is, put your hand in your diaphragm and get your diaphragm moving regularly again. And when that happens, breathe from your spine until you go back to being calm. Well, thank you very much for attending this. And I hope these sessions that are especially looking at the coronavirus, that I don't have to do them that long. But let me leave you with this one thought. Everything you're going to be learning is part of classic Taoist meditation. So whether your interest is just having a bit more comfort in your life during this trying situation, or you're looking to actually have comfort in your entire life, all these sessions will be helpful in that regard. Thank you very much, and till next time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you found this helpful. If you like this, go ahead and click subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.